pace car is going to hang a left. Here we go down Long Pond straightaway. Justin Michael elects the outside. Roland Holt to the inside. The green flag is out. We are racing in Pocono for Truck 200.
Roland Holt from the outside swoops down all the way to the inside, enters on the bottom of turn number 1. They are stacked up right around 5th place right now. And I told them to be aware that, whoa, somebody's in the wall. I think it might have been Peterson.
Luke Peterson, as they scatter around him.
Everybody scrambles. Goodness. That is not a very wide
Steve Roman
stretch.
just got up in the wall. Yeah, half a second quicker that last time by. It was all but inevitable that Justin Michael was going to retake the lead here into the tunnel turn, and he's got it. Bartel in the points game right now. Those are a couple of crucial bonus points here, trying to scratch and claw, especially since Steve Roman right now is 1 lap down in 22nd. Another awesome run for Justin Michael. Back to back to back. Justin Michael in the checkered paint wins it at Pocono. The three-peat is complete, but is 4 in a row on the table. We aren't too far away from finding out, as it's the only 200-kilometer oval race of the season. We are set for 142 laps around Iowa Speedway for the Corn 200K for round number 6 of the first season of Truck 200. It's the hosts with the mosts here on Turn 200. It's Tommy Cook. It's Matt Williamson, who has just so happened to be conscripted into the military for this segment, so he'll be back once his boot camp is over. We're almost ready to get cars onto the track for qualifying, but let's take a quick peek at the point standings after Pocono. We have a new points leader for the first time in series history. Steve Roman had them all, but his early race troubles at the Tricky Triangle have dropped him down to P3, and now TJ Bartel is the points leader after his 3rd runner-up finish of the season. Joe Yates moves up to 2nd in the points as well. And after not racing the first 2 rounds of the championship, Justin Michael is now within a race of the points lead, but he said himself it will be an uphill battle for him to get 4 in a row here tonight. It's going to be a wild night in Iowa, and it will be the first race under the lights in series history. It's the Corn 200K, and it's around the turn on Turn 200.
A blind night that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon keep, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Rogue Knight I've been hearing about. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Let's take this guy.
The Dungeon Labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom.
Presentation. Alrighty, just a few minutes to go here in qualifying, as most of the field has already put up some times here. Ahead of the corn, 200K at Iowa. A healthy field here tonight. We've got 29 drivers that are looking to take to the starting grid here to kick things off here in Iowa. Welcome back, Mr. Matt Williamson. Are you ready for some excitement around Iowa here tonight?
Hey, I'm ready for excitement. I tell you what, it's great to be back home in the cornfields of the Midwest. This is really where I belong, if we're being totally honest. And it's a good thing I belong here because we're going to be spending the night in the broadcast booth.
Yes.
And when we wake up tomorrow morning, the Venom Truck Series will be on the track ready for practice.
Yep, so 2 nights of Iowa back-to-back. We're also sort of kicking off a Midwest swing here for Truck 200. We'll be at Chicagoland next week, taking an off week the week after that, and then back to Gateway. So it's a nice little Midwest swing here for Truck 200. But yes, Iowa again tomorrow night. Their race is actually longer tomorrow night. They've got 165 laps for the oh gosh, what is it? The spend. Oh man, it's the spend big, save big. I'm going to look at it right now because it's.
I think it should be the save big money 165 myself. But...
Big on fresh, low on price. I was combining the actual name with the name that you keep asking for it to be. So yes, the big on fresh, low on price 165 tomorrow night. 142 laps here tonight, 200 kilometers. We've had some drivers talk about how they like how. It's a 2-stop race with these 200-mile races. Tonight, it's 200 kilometers. Is a 2-stop strategy, you think, going to be the winning strategy here tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's hard to say. I mean, we're at a short track tonight, so if we, and I know we've said this the last 2 races, so I might be putting my foot in my mouth here, but I would be surprised if we go green this entire time. I would assume that there are going to be cautions, and you can certainly make it on a 1-stop, and if you pit again for tires, you can certainly gain up a lot of time, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. I would assume the predominant strategy is probably going to be 1-stop if we go green the whole time, and that's a big if.
That certainly is a big if. What's your experience around Iowa like? Is this a track you like running? Is it not? How are you feeling getting ready for the action?
I am a predominantly against, or not, I shouldn't say against. I love short track racing, but I am horrible at it. So if it was me driving in the league tonight, this is one that I'm just trying to get through. The last week at Pocono, I would have felt a lot better probably, but here tonight, the cornfields of Iowa, I would just be trying to survive.
This is the only technical short track on the schedule. We don't go into anything under a mile. Dover certainly runs like a short track. So does Phoenix. But this is technically the only short track on the schedule for Season 1. Not to spoil anything, but you will be seeing short track racing on Season 2 schedule. That's just a forewarning there. But some drivers that are looking forward to tonight, some drivers that are not looking forward to tonight. One driver that said they were not looking forward to tonight was your three-peat winner, Justin Michael. Justin Michael right now, with about a minute and a half left to go in qualifying, everybody has either posted a time or elected not to qualify. So Justin Michael was fastest in practice, so that's good. The bad news is he is P20 on the speed charts in qualifying, so some work to do for Justin Michael to go 4 up and 4 down.
Yeah, I mean, that's a long ways to go, especially at a track that's going to have as much traffic as this one is. It's going to be hard to get through without, getting maybe a little bit of damage here and there. So he's going to have to be smart, which he certainly is a smart racer. But he's just going to have to pick his spots correctly, and I would assume he's going to try to gain some time on some pit stops probably as well.
A few team changes to note ahead of tonight's race. We have a new amalgamation team. How about Full Send at Inc.? John Kay, Nathan Reynolds, Roland Holt were Full Send Inc. Now they have combined How About It Racing's Garrett Rainey, and they have also picked up Will Salamone. So that is a 5-car stable now. And that is a formidable one at that. Nathan Reynolds is not here, but the other 4 are here tonight. So team racing is going to be one thing, but the other thing, another team that picked up a driver this week is Bandit Motorsports. That is Justin Michaels' team. James Lehman is back in the field here tonight. And their new driver just grabbed the pole in his first start here tonight. How about it? Scott Patton qualifies on the top of the speed charts with a 23.632. In his very first start with Truck 200, he is going to lead the field to green. How about an outside pole for Gavin Sanders? A P2 start for him here tonight. That is fantastic. So you'll see Gavin Sanders working outside of Scott Patton here tonight. Row number 2 on the inside, Roland Holt had the provisional pole for the longest time. He will roll off P3 here tonight. Jeff Smith, how about it? Best career qualifying effort for him in Truck 200. He will start in the 4th position. Steve Roman rounds out your top 5 starters. He is no longer the points leader. He is back to 3rd. Work to do for Steve Roman here tonight. Dakota DeMade, a good qualifying effort for him here tonight. He rolls off in 6th. On row number 4 on the inside, it's Joe Yates, 2nd in the points. Looking to overtake TJ Bartell for that top spot. Andy Poliski will start on his outside in the 8th position. On row number 5 on the inside, it's Eric Breeding. Jeff Langston is back. He will start in 10th. James Lehman is back as well. He rolls off in 11th. Brantley Gainey Jr. to his outside in 12th. Your points leader, TJ Bartell, back in 13th. Jacob Houston to his outside to round out row number 7. And round out your top 15 starters here, it's Ryan Dye in 15th. Jeremy McKinnon finally picked up a top 10 last week. He rolls off in 16th. Will Salamone, another new number on the side of that truck. He is number 25 now. He rolls off in 17th. Starting in 18th, it's Luke Peterson. Paul Ellison, Justin Michael round out your top 20. That is a power duo there on row number 10. Adam Cantwell is back. He was sick last week, so good to see him back. He rolls off 21st. Garrett Rainey to his outside in 22nd. Richard Hayes, Kyle Zittel, Johnny Nielsen, Kyle Dumig, John Kay, not me. How about Troy Thomas? And then Hunter Leach. Round out your 29 truck field here tonight at Iowa. Alrighty, Matt. What are the track conditions looking like ahead of tonight's first ever Truck 200 night race?
Yeah, well, as it's a night race, track temperature is going to be a little bit cooler. Track temperature is 86 degrees, so the drivers have a little bit to work with here tonight as far as that goes. 0 fast repairs. Fuel windows about 80 to 85 laps as long as we can go green. And there are 3 extra sets of tires, so that is what we are looking at here tonight.
For once, you don't think you're going to need all 3 sets of tires, so it's going to be interesting to see if you have the opportunity to, what drivers are going to do when they think they have a little bit more freedom. As I forgot, it's a short track. We're doing 2 laps here. This doesn't seem like a short track. It's 0.88 miles. But it's a short track. It drives like a short track. It's a little bit wide like Richmond, but you certainly can't use all of this racetrack.
No, I mean, you get up there to the high side, and you kind of get sucked up to the wall. If you're, making a 3-wide move is just not going to work if you're on the outside there. You really want to be either on the inside, or then later on in the run, you'll probably see more towards the middle, and then maybe back to the bottom again as the tires really start to go away. So that's kind of what we're looking towards, but we've seen in this series before, and a lot of the drivers we know well, they're going to be aggressive, and they are maybe going to do what we don't expect.
On the track surface, there are a lot of bumps and ruts. On the racing tonight, I bet there are going to be quite a few bumps and runs. We'll have to see as Scott Patton, wheeling number 46, set to make his debut. The green flag is out. Gavin Sanders on the outside of the front row roars to the line with Patton to his inside. Good start for Patton. Good start for the field. 3 wide, a little bit further back, just inside of the top 10. Out of turn 4, Scott Patton leads his first lap in his first race.
And you can see farther back here in the field, it's like a hornet's nest. It's kind of broken up a little bit, but it is still wild, still crazy, and it's going to be like that pretty much all night. When those leaders start to come around, they're going to be going through lap traffic all night long. Whoa, and somebody's in the wall. Just a little scrape. I think it might have been DeMade.
Hangs on to it, so does everybody else. There's almost some contact further back in the field as well, running tight off of turn number 4, especially as these tires go. Turn 4 wall comes up closer and closer and faster and faster. It gets harder and harder to avoid.
The 05 of Lehman's working that top side real well.
Picking him up, putting him down. He's up 3 spots already to 8th.
And you can, I said you don't want to use that top line. You can enter, and you actually want to enter on the top of the track, but when you get to the middle of the corner, it's less likely that you're going to be up there towards the wall.
And 1 and 2, if you enter too high, there's actually a big bump up there. If you hit that bump, that's Wall City for sure. There's no avoiding it. So Scott Patton already out to a 2.5 advantage over Gavin Sanders. Watching for Justin Michael. He is actually only picked up 1 spot so far. He is in the 19th position after starting 20th.
Back here just outside the top 10, they are too wide for about 3 or 4 rows. These guys are really trying to jockey for position as best as they can, but with a truck in front of you, a truck next to you, there's just not a lot of places to go. But once the tires start to fade here in about another, 5, maybe 10 laps, that's when you're going to see who really has it here at Iowa.
Well, right now, Patton definitely has it. He's up over 2 seconds.
Yeah, Patton has it, and Lehman is up 7 spots now, all the way up to 4th. He just passed Steve Vroman. He's not quite clear. Vroman fighting back on the outside.
Through 3 and 4, Bartel, Dorchek, Brantley, Gainey. Gainey trying to recover the truck, got up and into the wall. He's only lost a couple of spots out of the exchange so far. It certainly wasn't intentional, but that's how quickly things can tighten up here around Iowa.
And Montville Speedway has been in the chat, said good luck to Jeff Smith, who had, I think, the best qualifying effort he's had this season. He started 4th. He's now passed Gavin Sanders. You can see on the screen for 7th. He's not clear yet, though. The 10 of Sanders fighting back on the outside, looking to carry momentum into turn number 3. And Smith just, I didn't think it was going to get clear there. I think Sanders might have given him a break, but Jeff Smith all the way up to 2nd now. A great run so far for him.
And they are putting time on Scott Patton here. They have cut that gap from 2.2 down to 2 seconds, even while they were battling. So Jeff Smith putting in work here, up 2 spots, and maybe trying to hunt down the race leader here.
Yeah, that could be a little bit of Scott just trying to maybe settle into a rhythm and not roast the tires more than he needs to. He's maybe thinking, oh boy, we haven't had a caution yet. Maybe these guys are clean drivers, thinking that he needs to maybe conserve a little bit of tire right now. Poliski's looking under Vroman now. Vroman's lost a lot of spots. A lot of spots here. Wasn't able to complete that one, though.
We are 3 wide, just inside of the top 20. Zittel, John Kay, and I think Ryan Dye were 3 wide out of turn number 2.
Yeah, Ryan Dye's in there. Yeah, Jacob Houston's right behind that group as well, right on the back of Ryan Dye.
The new livery and number for Will Salamone just behind them as well, the 25.
Yeah, that's going to take some getting used to. He's changed it up a couple of times on us now. Now Jeff Langston got through on Poliski and has made a move on Steve Roman. And Poliski is fallen back a spot or two here. He's got Eric Breeding on his outside, and DeMade, who I think brushed the wall a little bit earlier, behind him, rounding out the top 10.
Boy, Roland Holt, I'm not sure what happened to him, but he has slid from 3rd all the way down to 20th.
Oh, and we're on board with Dakota DeMade. He's going to lose a spot here. I think he might have misshifted, but he shifted, and he did again through the corners.
That's interesting. These gears are running a little low. I didn't know if they would be that low.
He doesn't do it that time through turns 1 and 2, so maybe just trying a couple of different things here to see what's going to work best for him going forward. And he does not shift through turns 3 and 4 that time either.
So Scott Patton, the race leader, he's led all 17 laps thus far. Jeff Smith, Gavin Sanders, James Lehman, all in pretty much close proximity to one another. Smith is 2.3 seconds behind the race leader. It's pretty much stayed that way since Smith has gotten up to P2. Joe Yakes is trying to pull up in this battle as well.
Yeah, this battle for second is getting to be something fierce. Lehman crosses over on Sanders to the bottom through turns 1 and 2. I think he's going to be able to complete that here in 3 and 4. Oh, it wasn't quite clear. Sanders really hanging it out there.
I tell you what, Lehman has a ton of speed. He's up 8 spots. He is the biggest mover of the race, I believe, at this point.
Yeah, actually, John Kay, all the way back there in 18th, is up 9 spots, but he just started way back in the field. And he did that last week, too, so maybe he's trying to break the record for most spots gained in a race.
He might be. Ooh, man, we were really tight back there.
Sanders is able to fight back and keep that 3rd position. Now Yakes is working on the 05 of Lehman. And this here is your race leader, Scott Patton. Currently up just over 2.5 seconds over the rest of the field.
Yeah, I think, like you said, just mind it as equipment. Doesn't need to push the issue, especially with a big gaggle and a big battle behind him. Justin Michael trying to pass Jeremy McKinnon to get up into the top 10. Michael and Ellison a couple of laps ago nearly got together out of turn number 4. It was really tight quarters there.
Boy, and if 2 through 5 keeps battling here, Langston, I mean, I don't even know if I should say is going to be there. He's pretty much there now.
Yeah. Let's just draw them all together. Why not?
I tell you what, already with these battles, we're seeing just how difficult it is to pass. And we've seen passes on the bottom, on the top, not able to get clear. And once you make that initial attack, you kind of lose a little bit of momentum, and then whoever you were trying to pass doesn't, and they end up pulling back out in front of you, like we saw with Sanders and Lehman just about 10 laps ago, maybe less. So it is a very difficult track to try and pass, especially when the tires are still somewhat fresh. Now, when we get a little bit deeper into this run, we're really going to see who is able to take care of their tires and who knows how to. And then we're going to see some movement, I think.
Fuel window's 80 to 85. Halfway in this race is 71, so could very well see some split strategy if we stay green.
Boy, 2 through 6 has tightened up even farther. Sanders has been trying to put moves on Jeff Smith. Hasn't been able to. Meanwhile, the 05, 87, and the 1 of Lehman, Yates, and Langston are bumper to bumper with him.
Looks like Ellison just brushed the wall at a turn number 2 while he was battling with Adam Cantwell.
Let's look at this battle from Langston's perspective. Yates is going to dive to the bottom of the 05. He makes it stick. We'll see if the 05 crosses over or not. Doesn't look like he will. Langston's going to try his hand on the top side here just to carry momentum. And Langston is shifting, so that seems to be a common theme here that some drivers are doing.
While all that is happening, Patton has widened his advantage just a little bit to just under 3 seconds now.
And one thing we'll need to watch for is once these tires start to get really old, you're going to be nearly slapping the wall out of 2 and 4 pretty easily. These drivers are going to have to keep that in mind and keep the tail of these trucks under control.
Most of the field, except for about 3 drivers, are pretty much nose to tail. There's a little bit of a gap between Poliski and Vroman, but outside of that, everybody is running in pretty close proximity.
Now with this battling, Poliski has shown his face here for this battle for second.
Why not? The more the merrier.
And after Poliski, there's a bit of a gap back to Vroman. Justin Michael is up 11 spots now, finally making some ground. He's up to 9th behind the 00.
So he'll try to go to work on Steve Vroman here in just a few laps.
And Michael being teammates with Lehman and Patton, I'm sure there is a lot of good information being thrown around that race chat room.
And you know, even though Michael says that maybe this isn't his racetrack, he's obviously an incredibly skilled driver. So, I mean, just your racing fundamentals alone, whether you like the track or you're good at the track that you're racing or not, are going to help you so much to help you along in the race.
A little bit further back here in the pack, this is outside of the top 10. Cantwell look to the inside of the 82 of DeMade. DeMade touches the wall again out of 4. You can see how long these battles take. Cantwell just gets up to the side of him and has a hard time clearing. He's going to this time. But it takes a couple of laps, maybe even more, to really complete a pass. You got to have your ducks in a row, quite a few laps in a row.
Jeff Langston, I think, was working on James Lehman there and gets the pass done. Really stuffed it in on the bottom underneath of him in 1 and 2.
And Langston's still on the bottom. He's not quite clear yet. Whoa, Poliski is going to take it 3 wide down into turn number 1.
Holy cow.
Oh, man, that is tight. Poliski and Langston might have made a little contact. Poliski makes the pass on the number 1, and he's going to try to pull a slide job here on the 05, I think. Wasn't even much of a slider. He just stuffed it in there and made the pass.
Still gives Lehman the outside, though, as they barrel back towards turn number 1. In the battle for 5th.
Oh, boy. And here comes Langston now. What a battle.
Race leader getting into some lap traffic. We'll keep our eyes on them as the battling continues behind him.
In front of these 3, there's another 3-truck battle happening. They've pulled out a little bit farther ahead, but Smith, Sanders, and Yakes are all battling here as well. This is for the 2nd place position.
Great run going for Jeff Smith. Incredible.
Yeah, we've seen him have speed, and he just hasn't quite been able to put a good one together. But this is by far the best run he's put together so far this season, and he's looking good. He's certainly got his hands full right now and is not buckling under the pressure at all.
Well, he races cars in real life and says it's harder to adjust to racing in the sim. So it looks like tonight is more in his favor here on the short track.
Yeah, that would make sense. I think he's probably more of a short track racer in real life, so maybe feeling a little bit more comfortable here than he has on the sim so far this season. And they are now coming up on lap traffic. That's the 199 of Hunter Leach in front of them.
Oh, Jeff Langston and Steve Vroman just made contact and put each other up into the wall. They keep it pointed and moving, so we're going to stay green. But that is battling inside of the top 10 there.
And Justin Michael comes through. He's now going to make a move on his teammate, Lehman. He's going to make that one stick for right now. He's up 14 spots.
And I tell you what, the contact from that, I just went back and looked at it, actually was from Justin Michael. Michael drifted up the track a little bit, clipped Langston on his way through. Langston trying to save the truck, hits the wall, bounces off, and hits Vroman. So I'm not sure how much damage Vroman picked up. Langston, I'm sure, is going to have a fair bit on the right side of that truck.
I'd like to take a look at it, but Justin Michael's now hounding Andy Poliski. Oh, and Poliski stays down towards the bottom of the track to head a lap truck.
Ooh.
On the outside.
Tight quarters there between Poliski and Michael. They touch down the back straightaway. Michael's ahead, but Poliski, I'm sure, is not done.
Poliski goes wide through turns 1 and 2 here.
And that'll give it to him.
But Justin Michael is now up 15 spots. Started 20th. Currently finds himself in 5th.
Nice to make him work for once.
He's got a little bit of a gap now. There's about a 1.5 seconds back from Jeff Smith. And while we were watching that battle, Smith has been passed by Sanders, and Joe Yakes is using the number 8 of Dumig as a pick. Oh!
Oh!
And Smith gets turned into the wall.
Wow. Big moment there.
Close quarters between Michael and the 8 as well.
Wow. Smith, I mean, that was an incredible save, but he's sure got a ton of damage on that truck. You probably are getting a better look at it than I am. Man, that was, wow.
I was just trying to make sure that was Dumig because we've had other drivers
Yes,
run the
it was
8 truck
Kyle
when they're not
Dumig.
supposed to. And
That was Kyle Dumig.
have confirmed that it is. And you can see the damage. That's the right rear of Jeff Smith. Try to look at the rear chase. The front hood is crinkled as well. Boy, and it is just tight battling. They're nearly 4 wide there out of 4.
Oh,
Dumig's
Dumig
into the
up
wall
into the
now.
wall. And Dumig is battling for position with those 3 trucks around him. That's Hunter Leach and Johnny Nielsen. That is a battle for position. Nielsen hits Dumig up into the wall. Oh, Bartel makes contact with Cantwell. They both save it. Oh my gosh.
I'm going to have to go take a look at the replay because I was hoping to look
It's
for
all
a battle
happening.
a little bit up towards the front, but I shouldn't have missed it. I shouldn't have left the screen.
Gavin Sanders has picked up 0.6 of a second on the race leader here as we're working lap number 53. We've had a near accident one time in the last 3 laps, every lap. It's been intense here.
Well, there's the contact between Nielsen and Dumig. Dumig goes up into the wall. And you can see Cantwell. It looked like he had just made contact with the 9. Dumig tries to dive down to the inside of Nielsen here. Oh my goodness, what a hornet's nest that one is. They've all kind of finally,
Don't say it.
well,
Don't say it. We're caution-free so far, 55 laps into this.
well, it was very close to not
Certainly
being caution-free.
Not trending in that direction to stay that way.
And Gavin Sanders is starting to make up a bit of time on Scott Patton. He is only
He's made up a second in the last 5 laps, a full second.
Yeah, it was nearly 3 seconds ahead of second place. And Sanders, after getting finally fighting his way through the traffic, has got himself to second with a little bit of clear track, and he's gained about 1.5 seconds now. He's down to 1.5 seconds gap from him to Scott Patton in first.
James Lehman and Jeff Langston just made contact in turns 1 and 2, I believe. Actually, in turns 3 and 4. But they keep it pointed in the right direction. Goodness gracious. More contact between Hunter Leach, Jacob Houston, and Kyle Dumig. Boy, Kyle Dumig is just getting put through the ringer here.
Oh! And Cantwell and Smith nearly made contact. Smith has dropped like a rock since making hard contact with the wall after the contact from Dumig. And I hate to see that. Jeff Smith was putting together such a good run. Hopefully he'll be able to repair a little bit of damage on a pit stop at some point.
Yeah,
Maybe
we're about 10 to 25 laps away from green flag pit stops, should we make it that far. But right now, Gavin Sanders is almost within 1 second of the race leader. He is making up some big time here. We got some action on pit road as well. John Kay has just come down. he was just inside of the top 20, maybe P20.
Yeah, Dumig came in as well, I think a lap before that.
Yeah, Dumick has a ton of damage on that truck, so that's not a surprise.
Battle, Jeremy McKinnon now trying to get around Jeff Smith.
Kyle
And if
Dumick
you're-
picks up a black flag. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, if you're Jeff Smith and you're falling right now, it feels like it feels like the worst thing in the world, because at this track, it's just one car after another coming to get by you. So it's just a horrible feeling. And
Completely hopeless.
James Lehman has dropped back a lot too after fighting for the top 5 for quite a while.
Oh,
He's
Johnny
back
Nielsen.
to 10th now.
Johnny Nielsen, I think, just had to slow way down to make a save, as I believe.
Here comes
front,
Langston.
I think we got a battle for the lead. I think Gavin Sanders is looking underneath of the race leader right now.
You're right, and Sanders has been working that kind of bottom lane all night long here. It kind of looked like he was trying to make passes all night, but I think that's just his preferred line and way of running this track.
Just to note how much quicker, fresh tires are, there's John Kay pulling up on this battle for the lead right now. He ran a second and a half faster last time by than Gavin Sanders. Not sure where he is going to go.
Yeah, I mean, he might try to go all the way high here through 1, and it does look like that's the case.
If he can avoid that rut, then I don't see why not. Jeff Langston has been in and out of the pits. Johnny Nielsen is on pit road now.
As we continue to watch this battle for the lead, Sanders, and you can see he gained so much time lap after lap to catch Patton, but he is having such a hard time making this pass.
Roland Holt and Jeff Smith just made contact at a turn number 4 while Jeremy McKinnon was trying to duck onto pit road.
Here goes Sanders underneath the 46 again. And they'll likely be even here, but Sanders will be able to try to make another move here in 3 and 4. We've seen this a lot when passes are trying to be made so far tonight. Sanders is not going to be clear, though, and they have lap traffic in front of them.
We've seen lap traffic dictate the driver's lines here.
And Sanders is going to be able to maybe use them as a pick. Coming down into turn 3. The 199 stays high, does a good job trying to let the leaders sort themselves out here.
So the pit window is open to make it to the end. A little bit of action on pit road. Jeremy McKinnon is coming up on the leaders here. He's got fresh tires, and here comes the pick. Patton fighting tooth and nail there on the outside.
Sanders all the way down to the yellow line there. Still is not clear. And now McKinnon's coming on fresh tires. Oh. McKinnon is going to go to the bottom of Sanders, and Patton is going to try to follow him. Isn't close enough. So Sanders,
new race leader, Gavin Sanders, outright.
Finally, I mean, you saw just how long it took to make that pass. Of course, there was some lap traffic involved there as well, but my
and that
goodness.
drug a couple of people back into the fray. Joe Yates has crept within a second now of the race lead. Adam Cantwell, Roland Holt, Jeff Smith, Troy Thomas, Hunter Leach all hitting pit road. Ryan Dye, Richard Hayes coming this time. Here comes Eric Breeding and Andy Poliski as well. Roland Holt just picked up a black flag. Oh, man.
Well, this is it. We're right here at halfway through this race. And That's the one-stop strategy. Here comes the race leader, Sanders. Patton stays out. Yake stays out as well.
Kyle Zittel in as well.
And I like this move from Sanders. I would imagine everybody else in that top 5 should come next time around.
2 laps after the halfway mark of the race, you see the race leader, Gavin Sanders, hitting pit road. Brantley Gainey is on pit road as well.
And no, your race leader, Scott Patton, does not come down. Yake stays out. Justin Michael stays out.
He can go another 10 laps if he wants, and he'll have 10-lap fresher tires than Gavin Sanders at the end of the race. Problem is he's just going to have to work through a big gap to overcome.
Yeah. I also think a little bit later, trying to work through the lap traffic on those new tires is going to be more difficult than it would be to run good laps right now.
Scott Patton is going to pit this time, I believe. He just called it over the radio. As Joe Yakes is working to his outside right now.
Patton slows. He comes in. Looks like a good stop. Justin Michael stays out. Not sure who that was behind him. Oh, that was actually Jacob Houston that came in with him.
So just a couple of holdouts here, I believe. Joe Yakes, Justin Michael, Steve Roman, TJ Bartell. The last few drivers to come down pit road here.
I've been looking at this number 9. I forgot that Bartell switched numbers on us last week.
Oh, wow. On pit exit, the 46 really lit up the rear tires. I thought he was going to spin it out, but he hangs on. We saw Poliski do that at Pocono last week and actually pretty well damaged that truck. But Patton doesn't hit anything. Maybe just lighting him up, getting a little bit of early heat in him. TJ Bartell, black flag.
Oh, man.
So that is the 4th black flag of this pit cycle.
Bartell, one of our championship runners.
The championship leader heading into the race, was running inside of the top 10. And that is certainly not going to help things, especially if somehow, some way, we can do a race at Iowa caution-free. That is really going to spell disaster for Bartell.
And here's Gavin Sanders. He's passing Steve Roman right now, who has not come down pit road. Neither has Ellison, Justin Michael, Joe Yakes.
Dakota Debate is on pit road right now.
So everybody in front of Gavin Sanders needs to come down pit road still. And I would think is going to have to here in the next. I'd say probably at least by lap 90 for sure.
Joe Yakes is coming this time. Will Salamone is on pit road.
Here comes Yakes. He slides a little bit. Looks like he got stopped in time, though.
No black flag appearing for Joe Yakes. Justin Michael, I believe, is coming this time. TJ Bartell has served his penalty, is back out on the track.
Dare I? Well, I'm going to keep my mouth shut for a minute. I think you know where I was going with that one.
Yeah, anytime you say dare I, you daren't, I think. Now you got me hanging by a thread.
Scott Patton has gotten by Steve Roman now, and he is about 3 seconds behind Gavin Sanders.
So Sanders really made out, pun intended, like a bandit on that one. Came in after just taking the lead over, and now
And here comes
the race leader by quite some margin.
Steve Roman. So Ellison, I believe, is the only truck on the track that has not come to the pits yet, but Sanders is by him, so Sanders is now your race leader. Oh, and there's contact in front of him! Oh, he has to slow way up!
Wow, big moment there. Salamone, Peterson, Smith again, Brantley Gainey. Luke Peterson will get a meatball flag out of the exchange. Man.
I'm going to try to find that. I don't have necessarily an incident indicator, but let's see if this is it. Oh, this is after the fact. The contact had already happened. Let me rewind just a little bit here. Oh, that was actually in front of Will Salamone, and I gotta see if I can find who that is. They are 3 wide up there in front of Salamone, and somebody goes sideways, and that was Jeff Smith. Let me get on Jeff Smith and see if I can see a little bit more of what happened here.
Contacted Brantley Gainey at some point. I don't know if that's what starts it.
I think it is. So Smith, Gainey, and DeMade were 3 wide coming down the backstretch. Ooh, and there might be some...
Good old net code. Say it isn't so.
Actually, not really. Gainey just came up the track just a hair. Not very much. It was close quarters, and it sends Jeff Smith's rear around. He is able to save it, but had to slow way down. And then... it's just a big pileup from there.
So Luke Peterson actually has gotten his meatball flag cleared up already, so he's going to lose 2 or 3 laps, but he will be able to get back to the track here as Scott Patton is actually within half a second of the race leader, Gavin Sanders, here.
Well, I was going to say, I wanted to take a look at pit strategy and when the pit stop laps were.
Patton was at least 4 or 5 laps later.
I'm trying to decipher this. I'm not sure this is quite correct. Showing that they both came on the same lap.
No, I don't think that's right.
That's definitely not right. Also says that their stint length is 91 laps, so it's almost like it didn't even register a pit stop for either of them, which is unfortunate. So that will be of no use to us here.
So Dakota DeMade and Kyle Zitter were just battling. And I think Dakota ran it wide out of turn number 2 and put Zittel up into the wall. We've put 93 laps in the books thus far. There have definitely been some beating and banging and some close calls, but no cautions as of yet.
Trying to look for a battle for position here. There's not many to be seen towards the front. In fact, all the way through the top 10, there's really not a heavy battle. The heaviest one is your race leaders. They're the closest ones together. Oh boy, they have some lap traffic in front of them. This is going to be interesting. Dumig is low, Gainey's high. Sanders tries to go to the middle.
Whew.
Oh, boy.
Sanders really trusting working, weaving through lap traffic at full tilt.
Yeah, he made quick work of Dumig and Gainey there, but certainly a little scary, I'm sure. In front of him now, this is Salamoni and I think Thomas, who are in a battle for position.
Yes, so they're entitled to space on the track here.
This one I don't think is going to be quite as easy.
Especially now with Salamoni ducking, or at least peeking to the inside of Thomas for position. It's a battle for 16th, so that gives you an idea of where the leaders are working their way up through the field.
What this is also doing is Joe Yakes is pulling up to the back of your race leaders. Joe Yakes only about 2 truck lengths now behind second place of Scott Patton.
And Yakes pitted later than Patton did. So he has the freshest out of the 3.
Wow, Sanders narrowly making his way through. He's not clear yet of Troy Thomas. Oh, and Patton was not that clear of Thomas either, but pulls up in front. That was a little scary. And Joe Yakes is right there now. We have a 3-truck battle for the lead. Fourth place Poliski is about 2.5 seconds outside of third place here. And in my heart of hearts, I think it would only have to be right for Sanders to be to be rewarded with a victory tonight after internet connection stole a victory from him at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, it's one thing to be out way in front, but Gavin Sanders is in the midst of some company here.
Yeah, Scott Patton and Joe Yakes certainly don't give a rat's darn about about losing internet connection and having a win taken away from them. They want to get one themselves.
Here goes Joe to the inside for second. Patton has the momentum off the top side there out of 2. Yakes on the bottom, maybe trying to pinch up off of turn number 4. Stall the run any way that he can. If Sanders showed anything there towards the end of his first fuel stint, all it takes is some patience there, working on the bottom, and you can get it done. And Joe Yakes does just that.
So Yakes goes through to second place.
We'll see what Yakes has now for the race leader, Gavin Sanders. See if Scott Patton can get back to it as well. He is hanging right here, still in the top 3.
Yeah, Yakes and Patton still have to get through on a lap truck here in Kyle Zittel. I'm actually on board with Scott Patton right now on the broadcast, and Patton is struggling a bit to get around the 53. That's going to hold him up here. Oh, and there's... Oh, nearly contact, it looked like. Certainly a scary moment as Patton was trying to get the power down and slid up the track coming out of turn 2.
Poliski's about 2.5 seconds behind this battle in 4th. Justin Michael is in a distant 5th. He's about 6 seconds behind.
And Patton does clear Zittel. He will now look to catch back up to the leaders, and if Yakes cannot get around Sanders quickly, I'm sure that will happen. We've seen it all night long so far.
Yates drawing closer. Reach out and touch him out of turn number 2. Is he going to have the run here?
He looks to the inside. Oh, Sanders shuts the door. We're getting a great view from the left rear quarter panel of Gavin Sanders.
108 laps complete. Sanders can shut the door for now. We'll see how long Joe Yates is going to play with it.
Yates decides to go more of a middle line that time to try to carry some more momentum out of turn number 4.
We've seen this go both ways. This could be Gavin Sanders playing a little bit of cat and mouse. It could be Joe Yates playing a little bit of cat and mouse. On paper, Yates has the upper hand. Much fresher tires than Sanders in the grand scheme of things. But Sanders feels like he is owed one. And you know what? He probably is. Joe Yates has a win this season at Legacy Atlanta. It was the second race of the year. Sanders led the most laps at Watkins Glen, had a server disconnect, finished in 24th. Got caught out by bad pit strategy, good pit strategy, and a poorly timed caution at Dover. And when he was looking at a podium there and finished just inside of the top 10. A chip on his shoulder, Gavin Sanders trying to hang on to P1 here with Joe Yates hounding him.
And we're about to have only 30 short laps to go.
They click off quick here, especially when we're not running 200 miles. It's 200 kilometers tonight, 142 laps. We're back at Iowa tomorrow for the Venom Truck Series, 165 laps. So if you like the racing action tonight, you might like it again tomorrow. As Joe Yates peeking to the inside of Gavin Sanders. Sanders has the run off of the corner.
He wasn't quite able to get his nose all the way in there. We've seen that a lot tonight. But Yates is going to regroup and try it again here in a couple of laps, more than likely. And he's got to be thinking to himself, if I don't get this done now while my tires still matter, it's going to be even harder later probably.
Scott Patton has fallen over a second off of this battle now. So it's just the top 2 here. If it ends up going caution-free, this race is going to be just over an hour long. We're only at the 48-minute mark since the green flag dropped.
And that is going to be by far the shortest race of the season.
Jacob Houston, I think was trying to slow down to get onto pit road, clobbered the wall, picks up a meatball flag, and that might be the end of the race. Unfortunately for Mr. Mach 5 Racing's Jacob Houston. Another driver that's had a lot of speed this season and has just not had the results to show for it, unfortunately. His time is coming, though. But unfortunately, it's not going to be tonight at Iowa.
This battle up front has subsided a bit. Yates, I think, just trying to regroup, but is drawing near the 10 again. Now, that's a problem when you make that. Yeah, that's a problem when you make that move to the inside, though. It takes at least a couple of laps to kind of get it going again where you have a run to try and make another pass.
Garrett Rainey, I believe, is up in front of the leaders here. See what he does. Rainey's in 14th, still in the lead lap, but that is about to come to an end here, I believe.
Oh.
Woo.
Wherever they go, Sanders is going to look to the outside of the 13.
Yakes wasn't able to get the run that he wanted off of the turn, as Kyle Dumig was there. But it makes up for it by having Garrett Rainey right in front of the race leader here. Yakes had a nice run on Sanders there. Nowhere to go with it, though.
Sanders has been running this bottom all night. Yakes has been running more a lane up most of the time, it seems like. So Sanders is very, very good at this defensive line just because that's his normal line around this racetrack.
Oh, John Kay just pounded the wall of the turn number 4.
Oh, Yakes could have made contact with Sanders there if he wanted to, I think. Oh, he's going to dive to the bottom.
Door is open.
Oh, Sanders shuts it.
How does Sanders hang on there? Wow. Good on Joe Yakes to not pile into Gavin Sanders there, but this battle is not over.
And meanwhile, Sanders can't shake the 13 of Garrett Rainey either. He's having a hard time getting around him. He finally does.
Slide up. There's your slide job you were looking for earlier.
I think I really just wanted to see one. It was wishful thinking on my part.
I don't think Garrett Rainey wants to see one. I think he wants to hang on to his spot. I think this is exactly what Gavin Sanders wants to see, though, because now Joe Yakes is going to have the same problems getting around Garrett Rainey here. Maybe this is Sanders' time to scoot away.
Well, Yakes makes quicker work of Rainey there, but there is a bit of a gap now.
It opens up to over 3 now, making 0.4 of a second as they work out of turn number 4. Lap 125 is up on the board. We are counting them down.
Your leaders will now work on Luke Peterson. We're going back a little bit farther here. These two have been close together for this second half of the race. Ryan Dye, Jeremy McKinnon. McKinnon up a lot of spots, 8 spots up to 8th. A good run for him.
Justin Michael, the hard charger, up 15. But I think his charge is going to stall out there unless some problems for somebody else in front of him develop. Certainly not out of the question here in the closing laps.
Whoa. Sanders pulls down to the inside of Peterson. He's had enough. He wants to get around. I don't think he's clear quite yet. He's not going to be clear off of 4.
Peterson rolls out of it there to give up the track position to the race leaders. We're right back to it. Eric Breeding is the next one to go. He's 1 lap down in 20th currently. So that'll be putting him 2 laps down here.
I tell you what, these laps are going to click off quickly. Yakes needs to make his move, and he needs to make his move quickly. He does not want to be in a situation where he tries to go for it, misses, and then isn't able to regroup to at least get one more shot at it. But he is at least 2 or 3 truck lengths back right now.
Breeding running Sanders' line here. Watch Joe Yakes close the gap here.
The Breeding stays low, but as you said, Sanders likes that line.
Oh, Poliski and Peterson just made contact out of turn number 4. Jeremy McKinnon just picked up a meatball flag. Not sure what happened there. Did not get an incident warning or anything for Jeremy McKinnon, so not exactly sure what happened.
And McKinnon's in the pits now. Or will be going to the pits, I should say. He's down on the apron right now. And all the while, Sanders still leading Joe Yakes, who for about the last, 50 laps has been right on the bumper of the 10. Let's do it. Let's go inside the cockpit of Joe Yakes. 12 laps to go. Whoa, Sanders a little bit loose off the yellow line there out of 4. He's going to close the gap.
Here he goes.
Oh! Contact!
Sanders hangs on. He loses the lead. Great save by Kevin Sanders.
And Patton's gotten through on him. Patton is not that far from Joe Yakes.
Wow. Inside of 10 to go. We'll have to take another look at it here once this battle for the lead shakes out one way or the other. But I feel like, actually, I don't know. I don't want to say anything until I see a replay on that one. Joe apologized over the radio, but it's tight quarters and it's for the lead.
Yeah, we were in the cockpit with Joe when he made the move, and he certainly sent it in there, but I'm sure to him, he had been riding for so long, it felt like he had no choice. That might have been his only shot. When we saw Sanders, he got down, dipped a tire below the yellow line through 3 and 4, got pretty loose, and that is what allowed Joe Yakes to even try to make that move. But now Joe Yakes has to worry about the number 46 of Scott Patton.
What's the expression? Oh, how the turntables? Scott Patton, lying in wait, is right back in the mix here.
And this thing isn't done for Sanders either. If these two battle, he could be right back in this thing as well.
Down to 6 laps to go, is that right?
Yes, we're at 6 to go right now.
Kyle Dumig slowed down the back straightaway there. I believe just picked up a meatball flag. He's had a couple of run-ins at the back end of the race here.
And what seemed like it was going to be a bombardment from Patton has subsided for now.
Not over yet. Joe Yakes. Gavin Sanders 2.5 seconds behind. Oh, man.
Yeah. Oh, man is right. Also, your points leader, TJ Bartel, he's back in 21st. So, big shaking and moving.
Yeah, Joe Yakes looking great to pull ahead here in the point standings. Two to go.
Well, Cantwell in front of the leader gets into the wall.
Yeah, Rainey just picked up a meatball flag as well. Here we go. One more time around. Joe Yakes up over 0.7 of a second after an intense battle with Gavin Sanders for many, many laps. After Justin Michael takes 3 in a row, the combo breaker is none other than Joe Yakes, win number 2 in Truck 200, and he does it at Iowa. Scott Patton hangs on for second. Gavin Sanders. Oh, he gets the podium. First of his career. But, oh man. We'll let Joe Yakes celebrate here a little bit. And then as we're running through the finishing order, I want you to go back and look at what we got here between Joe Yakes and Gavin Sanders and the contact there.
Oh, I've already got it. I've already got it ready. And you can see Yakes is not celebrating.
Yeah, he's come over the radio a couple of different times and been very apologetic about it. It certainly didn't look intentional. Let's go ahead and take a look at it here real quick.
All right, we're going to back it up just a little bit here. A reminder for everybody that Yakes was able to make this move because Sanders did get loose in turn 4. We're going to go full speed. And he just sends it into that middle lane. And he didn't really drift up a whole lot. Sanders was just trying to take his normal line there. And Sanders kind of arcs a little bit, so he starts high and tries to arc down to that sort of more of a middle lane there, and Yakes stays in the middle lane all the way through. I think Sanders was maybe expecting Yakes to just dive down, way down on the bottom, and it just didn't happen. Sanders, I'm not even sure Sanders made contact with the wall. It was a heck of a save to keep that thing going there. You can see this slide. And yeah, no contact with the wall. Heck of a job from Sanders to at least keep it on the podium here tonight.
So we hope to hear from Gavin Sanders here momentarily. Let's go ahead and give you the full finishing order here. Joe Yakes, win number 2 on the season. No doubt he'll be the points leader after tonight, after some problems for TJ Bartell. Scott Patton takes the pole here tonight in his first career start, and he will finish in P2. So a great run for Scott Patton. Gavin Sanders again, third place finish here tonight. Andy Poliski, Justin Michael round out your top 5. Michael, the hard charger tonight, goes 20th to 5th. Scott Patton as well picked up the fastest lap of the race. Should mention that as well. 6th place for Steve Roman. 7th, Jeff Langston. 8th place to Ryan Dye. Adam Cantwell, James Lehman round out your top 10 here tonight. Dakota DeMade, P11 finish for him. Brantley Gainey Jr. in 12th. Kyle Zittel, 13th. Troy Thomas, Paul Ellison round out your top 15. Then it is Will Salamone in P16. Eric Breeding, 17th. Roland Holt in 18th. Jeff Smith in P19. Disappointing for him here tonight. And Richard Hayes rounds it out in 20th. TJ Bartell, P21 finish for him here tonight. We'll have to see where he's going to shake out in the points. No doubt he has lost the points lead, unfortunately. Garrett Rainey, 22nd. Hunter Leach in 23rd. Johnny Nielsen in 24th. Then I believe DNFs from John Kay, Jeremy McKinnon, Luke Peterson, Kyle Dumick, and Jacob Houston, all the way from 25th down to 29th. So that is your finishing order here. We will go ahead and pull up Gavin Sanders into booth 200 here. Partner, a P3 finish for you here tonight, but I'm sure it doesn't feel too great.
No, a little frustrated, but you know what? It is what it is, and I'm happy to be contending at least. So, no real complaints. Just it looked like racing, and that's I guess all that can be said, right?
And the racing was a lot of fun, especially up front between you and Scott for a while, and then you and Joe. I mean, it does have to feel pretty good to be able to go wheel to wheel with anybody in any car up front.
Yeah, I think definitely the car to beat tonight, and with traffic and everything, we were definitely struggling a little bit on the end of that last run. Obviously, we had to kind of fight off Scott at the first half of it, and then Joe came charging through with newer tires as well. So we were kind of fighting both ends of the stint and trying to go as fast as possible. And yeah, I mean, crap happens. I tried to get away from the nose of his car once I saw he was going for it, and I mean, it is what it is, right?
Matt, what do you got for Gavin here?
Yeah, Gavin, congrats on a podium at least. You kind of had a win taken away from you earlier this season, so just not very good luck. But talk to me about what it takes to make a pass around here, because we saw some battles that it took 4 or 5 laps to complete a pass. What is that like when you're in the heat of that battle trying to get that accomplished?
Yeah, especially with the front tires on the trucks tonight. I mean, it was pretty tricky, and um, sort of the dynamic between getting a good run off of 4 to then kind of seeing whether you could use the pass in 1 and 2, or you could use it to pass again in 3 and 4. But most guys would notice that and run the top line, right? So it was kind of a balance of how heavy can you take the bottom, and maybe you can get out alongside and make a move into 1, or get a big run at a 4 if somebody takes the bottom in front of you, right? So it was kind of a waiting game, like it is similar to racing Indy cars here. I mean, I think there was minor aero wash versus what at least I'm used to. But yeah, no, it definitely tightens up, and there's not a whole lot of road when when everybody's using all the lanes in front of you, right?
Well, shout outs for you here tonight.
Big thank you to Sunset Arctic Games. Buy Echo Blade on Steam. Buy Echo Blade on Steam. And buy Echo Blade on Steam. And all the Team Racers guys. Obviously, this is our for fun league, but it's a lot of fun to race week in, week out.
Well, you may not be getting the results that you want, but I tell you what, you getting up front, you putting on a show regularly. So it'll come, and it'll come soon here. So congrats on a podium. We finally got you up here in the booth on the podium. So we're off to a good start at least.
Yeah, we're slowly getting there. We've gone from nowhere near to now I'm here to we'll see, right?
All righty, partner. We'll see you next week in Chicago.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys.
All righty. Booth 200 debut for this gentleman right here. Welcome in, Mr. Scott Patton. How are you feeling after a P2 finish here tonight?
A little warm. I don't know that I've worked that hard for a P2 finish in a long time, but that was a lot of fun with those guys.
When you see that they're battling in front of you, and maybe you're picking up a little bit here and there and losing a little bit here and there, and then you see them get together, are you licking your chops a little bit at that point?
Exactly. I was just talking to Joe down there saying how I was pretty content with, not content, but I kind of rallied to finish third there, and I figured I burnt my stuff up throughout that run. Those guys did a heck of a job saving tires a lot better than I did, especially Joe. And then, like I said, saw that in turn 1 and said, oh, we're back into it. And Joe lost some momentum there, got right up on his bumper within 0.4 or so, and I heard guys talking about using third gear throughout the race. It's not something that I dabbled in at all because I was content with doing what I was doing most of the race until there with about 10 to go. I was like, you know what, let's try it. See, I got nothing to lose, and see if we can get to Joe's bumper. And it was kind of working, but then I think it was a couple laps too late. And then I continued to, one of the times, slip the rear off with turn number 2 and probably heated it up too much, and that's all she wrote. So.
Were you surprised that Gavin was able to kind of pick you off there by railing the bottom for as long as he did?
Yeah, I didn't even know he was doing that until I saw him in my mirror, I guess around the halfway point of the race. And I saw him catching me, and I was trying to figure out what he was doing. I figured it was just tire saving. And then I looked in my mirror when he was, I don't know, second half behind me, clipping me off, and realized that he was running that bottom in 3 and 4. So I dove down there and tried to salvage something. But yeah, he had that figured out way better than I did for sure. But the lines were interesting all night. It was kind of what I found was it would be the top line would run faster, and then for 10 or 15 laps, and then it would kind of, I'd experiment a little bit, run the bottom, and then I found some more speed down there. So it kind of seemed like it altered back and forth, which was kind of helpful when it came to lap cars because you could kind of pick the line that you wanted to run, whether it be the top or the bottom, and kind of make it work as long as you enter the line correctly and that sort of thing. And especially racing those leaders, racing Gavin, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun, clean racing with those guys. So I appreciate everybody in this league, and it's fun to have some new people to race around.
Matt, you got anything for Scott here?
Hey, Scott. First of all, good to have you in the booth. Good to talk to you. Congrats on the second place finish. I just wanted to ask you about the pit stop strategy because you stayed out a lot longer than some of the other drivers did. Was that, and I think you and Justin kind of had a similar strategy. Was that what you guys came in here intending to do, or did it kind of change throughout that first run? What was your thoughts on the pit strategy?
Yeah, that was all seat of the pants flying. I knew it was going to be a one-stop race, and obviously it was staying green the first half. I think if I remember right, Gavin passed me there towards the end of the first run and then came right to pit road. and which kind of took me by surprise. I think it was right at the halfway point, probably lap 71 or so, 72, something like that. And my plan was to come right after him because I wanted to stay on the same page, and I figured if I could keep the pressure on him, that would be to my advantage. And the next thing I knew, the next lap or two, other guys were pitting, and now I have lap cars that are faster on tires behind me, catching me, and the last thing I wanted to do was make a move to pit road and have those guys potentially run me over or make a silly mistake. So that kind of played my hand more than anything, my decision. So I had to wait another 5 laps, it seemed like. So that wasn't intentional. I wanted to come in right after Gavin, but it was kind of the lap cars and the other cars that were had already pitted that were kind of making that decision for me, just so we'd make sure we stayed out of trouble during that pit stop sequence.
Well, sponsor shout-outs for you here tonight, or just shout-outs to anybody for you?
Sure. Just this New England Racing Museum Chevy. I had to update the paint on that this afternoon because it's been a while since I run a league race, but those guys, Stone River Outfitters, for any fly tying fishermen out there, check them out at stoneriveroutfitters.com. It's a local shop up here in New Hampshire where I live, owned by a buddy of mine. And just the guys from Bandit Motorsports, Justin and James, of course. It's good to have teammates out there, especially coming to a new league like this, racing with new drivers and new rules and new officials and all that good stuff. So we had a great time, and looking forward to next week.
Absolutely. You're the first driver in league history from New Hampshire, so we welcome you with open arms. You said you came here to beat Justin, and you did it right out of the gate. So congrats, and we'll see you next week in Chicagoland, hopefully.
Sounds good. Appreciate it, guys. Looking forward to the broadcast. Take care, everybody.
All righty. I think we made our race winner wait long enough here. Let's bring in Joe Yakes into booth 200. It's win number 2 on the season for you. Congratulations. I know you were very apologetic over the radio. We made that very clear over the broadcast, and we showed the replay of it. It's pretty obvious to anybody that was watching that it wasn't anything malicious and that it was just some good, hard racing, which you and Gavin were doing for a while. So talk us through there the closing stretch of the race for you.
Yeah, and Gavin and I had a little bit of a chat here before you pulled me up into the booth. So everything's cool. We kind of talked it out. Everything's good. Like it was just some hard racing there. But I know tires mattered so much at Iowa, and I knew like you had the split strategy where you could run late, maybe catch a caution. And I tried to do like a little bit of both. I saw all those guys, Scott and Gavin, who I was racing with, up at the front there. They tried a split strategy, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to go 10 laps later. And luckily, like, when everything cycled back, I had only lost 3 seconds, and I'm like, hey, that's it. We got 10 lap fresher tires. We'll run them down and get them. Yeah,
and it worked to perfection. Once you had the contact with Gavin, and then all of a sudden your work was not over. You had Scott right behind you. Did you think that he pulled up because of the contact, or that he was saving something for you? What was your thought process there, working towards the checkered flag?
Well, I had seen him kind of closing in there as Gavin and I were racing, because we were racing each other pretty hard, and the lap traffic was racing us pretty hard, so we weren't really getting those good lap times at all. And there was a little bit of contact which slowed us up and closed that gap out great. And I saw him get closer, and I'm like, we've got 5-6 laps to go. I don't know how many laps are left, and I was just like, I just need to just get a nice couple of smooth laps here and get some distance. And then I just started taking off, and I'm like, all right, no cautions, let's finish this.
Matt, what do you got for Joe here?
Joe, congrats on the win. It was hard work tonight, I know. We were talking to Gavin about kind of how difficult it was to pass, and you rode behind him for a long time. And for me, up in the booth, I'm thinking, man, Joe's got to feel like he has to go now, because it seemed like you would make a move, and if it didn't work, you had to regather, and it took, 3, 4, maybe even more laps to kind of regather yourself so you could take another shot at it. Did you kind of feel like when you caught him there, that was maybe your last shot to really make a pass?
Well, when I caught him there, we were going through turns 3 and 4, and I kind of went up a little bit higher through 3 and 4 to try to arc down a big run down the front stretch. And at the same time I was doing that, he kind of clipped the apron a little bit, got loose. That slowed him back up, and I'm like, this is my shot. Like I tried to just get in there and race him side by side and see what would happen. We got side by side with the slightly fresher tires, but I mean, it was just hard racing. It's just really tough to pass, and every time the gap seemed to close up a little bit, we'd catch a lap car or a pass attempt wouldn't work, and it's just we just had to keep it going again. But it was so much fun.
Well, it's another podium for you. It's your second win of the season. Couldn't be happier that you're racing in the league and that you're racking them and stacking them. And your championship adversary, TJ Bartell, finished down outside of the top 20 here tonight. So you'll be inheriting the points lead out of Iowa. So a lot of good news, a lot of things coming up, Joe, here tonight. Who do you want to give some shout-outs to?
Yeah, I want to first shout out my my Glimmers community that were following me along tonight. You know, they were cheering me on, and we had some good discussions regarding the contact and all that, and just the strategies throughout the race. You know, those guys are great, and you know, also want to thank Adam with HD Motorsports and my guys at Indy Autosport that are cheering me on.
There you go. Not too bad of a night for HD. Adam hung on for a top 10 as well, and stayed on the lead lap there at the end of the race, and you come away with the second win of the season. How are you feeling about Chicagoland next week?
I love Chicagoland. I'm looking forward to just keeping up that momentum we've had the past couple of weeks, and we'll see if we can get on the podium.
It's another mile and a half. Last time we were at a mile and a half, you happened to walk away with the victory. So I'd say all eyes on the new points leader, Joe Yakes, heading into next week's race at Chicagoland. Thanks for the time, and go party hard on the win here.
I sure will. We'll catch you guys next week.
All righty. I can't believe it. That's our third caution-free race, and the three tracks that I would not have picked to go caution-free this season, and we've done it.
Yeah,
I can't believe it.
This was certainly not one of them, and it was very, very tight there at the beginning of the race. I was quite surprised. Even through the middle, there towards the end, we had a few incidents, but nothing that was caution-worthy. Nobody blocked the track. I mean, everybody. I just can't commend our drivers here at Truck 200 enough. From Joe Yakes, who won the race, down to Tommy Cook, who didn't even start the race. I mean,
yeah, that guy sucked.
Everybody just really tends to, give each other respect and make it fun, clean racing, and that's what we wanted. But starting new leagues, it's kind of hard. You never know what you're gonna get. But man, I can't believe we found a group that's awesome like these guys are this early in our league season. So it's awesome.
Absolutely. There will be a couple of things to sort out here tonight, and there are a couple of incidents that I guess if we were erring on the no pun intended, if we were erring on the side of caution, maybe we could have thrown one. But man, we hate to interrupt good racing and good strategy if we don't have to. And certainly, I didn't feel like it was necessary here tonight. But I think a couple of drivers probably would have argued the opposite. But regardless, it's another caution-free race. It's another spectacular race up front between the top three finishers here tonight. Joe Yakes with his second career win. Scott Patton in his first career race grabs the pole, hangs on for second. Gavin Sanders finishes in third. All three of them led quite a few laps here tonight. I believe Gavin Sanders led the most of the three. But a great night, and expecting another great night here. In 1 week's time, we keep the Midwest swing going. We're headed to Chicagoland with a named to be determined, which I was reserving for the title sponsor of the series, the title sponsor, which never materialized. But that'll get rectified here for next season. But for now, a nameless Chicago race, 132 laps, again under the lights next Monday night. How are we feeling about that one?
I mean, I love Chicagoland. I know you love Chicagoland. That's one of our favorite racetracks. We're very disappointed it's not being used in real life. So we decided to use the power, the very small amount of power that we have, and get to see some racing at Chicagoland. So I am very excited for that one. That was definitely one of the ones I circled on my list that I was most excited for this season.
Alrighty, partner. It's been a great week here on Turn 200. We picked up some subs. We've had some people moving in and out. We've posted a lot of content related to the Daytona 500. Appreciate all your hard work. Appreciate everybody that has helped make this channel what it is. We're coming up on 200 subs. It's been a fantastic 6 months since we've launched the channel. We appreciate everybody who has been a part of that. So. Join us again next Monday for some Truck 200 action at Chicagoland. Join us tomorrow night back here in Iowa. More of this tomorrow. It's going to be awesome. Venom Truck Series in Iowa tomorrow for the Big on Fresh. Well, gosh, dang it. I already forgot the name of it.
Big on Fresh Lawn Price.
Big on fresh, low on price. I almost said big on fresh, low on savings, but that didn't make any sense in my head. Big on fresh, low on price. 165 laps tomorrow night. In the morning at Iowa. It's a sunrise race. Good God. That is going to be a blast.
Make sure you get some sleep because we're going to be up bright and early tomorrow morning right here in Iowa. I brought my air mattress into the broadcast booth. I'll be ready to go.
All righty. Until we meet again, for everybody here on Turn 200, for everybody with Truck 200, for all the drivers and all the crew spotters, for the main man, Mr. Matt Williamson, punching the keys here tonight, we say... Until we meet again, so long from virtual Iowa Speedway, where Joe Yakes gets win number 2 on the season in the Corn 200K. We'll see you again tomorrow night here on Turn 200. Have a good night, everybody.